I'm going to level with you. Water matters more than almost anything else you do for your health after 50. But what your cells need isn't just volume. It's the right balance of fluids and minerals, so nerves fire on time, muscles contract and relax smoothly, and blood vessels stay responsive when your heart asks for more flow. As we age, subtle physiology shifts make "just drink more water" an incomplete prescription. The thirst signal arrives later. Kidneys become a little less efficient at conserving certain electrolytes. Medications common after midlife, diuretics, blood pressure drugs, acid reducers, can nudge minerals up or down. Add warmer climates, indoor heating, vigorous walks, golf, gardening, or workouts. And you get a pattern many men live in for years: mild, chronic underhydration with an electrolyte imbalance that shows up as afternoon fatigue, leg cramps, lightheadedness on standing, restless sleep, or underwhelming exercise tolerance. None of this means you should stop drinking plain water. It means you should hydrate with purpose, pairing fluids with the key minerals that help water move where it's needed and help vessels and tissues do their job. Think of hydration as a three-part conversation inside your body. First is fluid, the literal volume that maintains blood pressure and delivers oxygen. Second is electrolytes, charged minerals that create the electrical gradients, letting nutrients cross cell membranes and letting the heart and muscles contract efficiently. Third is vascular tone, the balance between constriction and relaxation within the smooth muscle that lines your arteries. When those three parts are in tune, you feel steady energy, warm hands and feet, stable focus, fewer nighttime awakenings, and better performance from the gym to intimacy. When they drift out of tune, you can drink all day and still feel flat because the orchestra is missing its conductor. Magnesium is the mineral most men over 50 are quietly short on, and it sits at the center of that orchestra. It participates in more than 300 enzyme reactions, including the ones that regulate how calcium enters smooth muscle cells in your vessel walls. Calcium signals contraction. Magnesium is the natural counterweight that allows relaxation. Without enough magnesium, vessels tend to stay a little tight. Peripheral resistance rises, and tissues see less blood flow for a given heartbeat. Low magnesium can also show up as muscle cramps, eyelid twitches, constipated stools, migraines, poor sleep quality, insulin resistance, and higher resting heart rate. Good dietary sources, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, leafy greens, are a great foundation, but intake often lags behind needs. Practical supplementation looks like 200 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium daily, preferably in forms that are gentle and well absorbed, such as magnesium glycinate, sleep and calm, or magnesium citrate, helpful if you tend toward constipation. Start in the evening if sleep is a goal. Split morning and evening if your bowels are sensitive. People with advanced kidney disease should not supplement without clinician guidance because magnesium can accumulate. If you take long-term proton pump inhibitors for reflux, ask your clinician to check magnesium periodically because those medicines can lower it. Within 1 to 2 weeks of replenishment, many men notice deeper sleep, fewer cramps, steadier mood, and less vascular stiffness when they exercise or when life calls for better performance. Sodium is next. It's fashionable to demonize sodium, but physiology is more nuanced. Sodium is the primary extracellular cation that drives water absorption from the gut and maintains plasma volume. It powers the sodium-potassium pump ATPase pump that sits in every cell membrane and underlies nerve impulses and muscle function. The problem in modern diets isn't sodium per se, it's excessive sodium from processed foods coupled with inadequate potassium from plants. For most adults, especially if you have high blood pressure, heart disease, or kidney disease, the target is to limit sodium, emphasize whole foods, and let potassium-rich choices do the work of relaxing vessels. Where a pinch of sodium can be useful is in specific contexts. You sweat heavily, you train in heat, you wake lightheaded on standing, or you're on a low-carb diet that increases sodium loss through the kidney. In those cases, a small amount of sodium with fluids can prevent dizziness and improve exercise tolerance. Think A small pinch, roughly what sits on the pad of your little finger, dissolved in a large glass of water, or simply adding broth or a lightly salted, minimally processed meal around training. If you have hypertension, heart failure, kidney disease, swelling, or you're on diuretics, talk to your clinician before adding sodium. Many people do better by cutting processed sodium and letting potassium rebalance the system. Potassium is the quiet hero for vascular health. Inside cells, potassium is king. Higher dietary potassium helps vessels relax, supports healthy electrical rhythms in the heart, and counterbalances sodium's pressure-raising effect. Most men fall short of the adequate intake, about 3,400 milligrams per day, because fruits, vegetables, beans, and dairy get crowded out. Food first is ideal: tomatoes, leafy greens, beans, lentils, yogurt, avocados, oranges and bananas, potatoes with skin. For those who sweat a lot or train regularly, a balanced electrolyte powder that includes a sensible amount of potassium can be helpful after activity. Be cautious with potassium pills or potassium chloride salts if you have chronic kidney disease, take ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics. These can elevate potassium, and too much is dangerous. If you're in those groups, get medical advice before supplementing and favor dietary routes. Zinc isn't an electrolyte in the classic sense, but it's relevant to men's vitality. Zinc supports immune function, tissue repair, and the enzymes that synthesize testosterone. Mild deficiency is common with limited diets, long-term acid suppression, or high phytate intake without enough animal protein or fermentation. If you supplement, keep it moderate. 10 to 15 milligrams per day taken with food is a reasonable short-term dose. Do not exceed 40 milligrams per day, the tolerable upper limit, without supervision. Longer, higher dose zinc can deplete copper and create problems you don't want. An easy option is to correct diet first. Oysters, the richest source, beef, lamb, eggs, dairy, nuts, and legumes, and consider a short, time-limited course if labs or symptoms point to a deficiency. Iron deserves a clear boundary. Only supplement iron if you've been tested and diagnosed with iron deficiency. Iron is essential for hemoglobin and oxygen delivery, but excess iron is toxic and can drive oxidative stress. Fatigue, breathlessness, restless legs, and poor exercise capacity can be iron deficiency, or many other things. Get a proper workup, CBC, ferritin, transfer and saturation, before taking iron, especially if you're a man, because deficiency always begs the question, why, and treatment should be targeted. How do you turn this into a practical, safe routine? Begin with consistency, not complexity. On waking, rehydrate before caffeine. A tall glass of water is fine. If you exercise in the morning or wake feeling a bit lightheaded, consider adding either your magnesium or a tiny pinch of sodium. Never both at once to start, so you can observe what helps. After breakfast or lunch, take your magnesium if evenings make you groggy, or take zinc with a meal if diet is low. Keep zinc modest and time-limited unless your clinician advises otherwise. After exercise or yard work in heat, favor a post-activity glass of water paired with a balanced, low-sugar electrolyte mix that includes potassium and a modest amount of sodium and magnesium. If you're a salty sweater, you'll feel the difference in how quickly your energy and mental clarity rebound. Through the afternoon, let urine color be your guide. Pale straw suggests you're on track. Clear like water plus frequent bathroom trips usually means you're overdoing it. Dark yellow says you need more fluids and likely some electrolytes from food. In the evening, if sleep is your priority and you're not dealing with nocturia, a second magnesium dose, bringing your total to 200 to 400 milligrams elemental, can improve sleep quality and night cramps. Keep total daily fluids sensible, roughly 30 to 35 milliliters per kilogram per day for most, adjusting up with heat and activity and down if your doctor has you on fluid restriction. Food choices amplify the effect. Build a daily mineral plate, a handful of nuts or seeds, magnesium, 2 cups of leafy greens, magnesium and potassium, a cup of beans or lentils, potassium, magnesium, zinc, a serving of yogurt or kefir, potassium and calcium, and colorful fruits and vegetables across meals, potassium and polyphenols that support vessel health. Add oily fish twice weekly for omega-3s that also improve endothelial function. Cook with herbs, citrus, garlic, and spices to keep sodium from creeping up while your food stays satisfying. If you like a morning broth or a lightly salted omelet and you're active, that can be part of a balanced plan. If your blood pressure runs high, shift the salt out of packaged foods and into potassium-rich produce instead. A few safety rails make this truly medical grade. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, cirrhosis, uncontrolled hypertension, or you're on diuretics, ACE inhibitors, ARBs, SGLT2 inhibitors, or potassium-sparing diuretics, ask your clinician which electrolyte products are appropriate and whether you need lab monitoring. The goal is benefit without surprises. If you take warfarin or other anticoagulants, big swings in leafy greens, vitamin K, should be consistent rather than erratic. If you use long-term acid suppression, PPIs, consider checking magnesium and B12 annually. If you're prone to kidney stones, magnesium can help some stone types, but high-dose vitamin C and abrupt changes in oxalate intake can backfire. Get personalized advice. And if you wake to urinate several times nightly, front-load fluids earlier in the day and keep the last 2 hours before bed lighter. Put it all together and you have a simple, sustainable framework. Drink to thirst, plus a little, but pair key moments with the right minerals. Morning. 1 tall glass of water. Choose either 200 to 300 milligrams magnesium, glycinate or citrate. Or if you're a heavy sweater or feel orthostatic, a tiny pinch of salt instead. Midday with a meal. Food. First potassium from beans, greens, yogurt, and fruit. If training later, prepare a balanced electrolyte mix for the finish line. Evening. Round out magnesium to a total of 200 to 400 milligrams elemental if sleep or muscle relaxation is your priority. Layer on a mineral plate daily. Keep processed sodium low, keep potassium high from plants, and let your urine color and energy be your dashboard. Give this pattern 3 consistent weeks. What you're watching for isn't a stimulant buzz. It's steadier mornings, fewer cramps, warmer extremities, better endurance at a given pace, and deeper sleep that helps hormones do their nighttime repair work. Hydration isn't just about quenching thirst. It's about restoring the electrical conversation that lets your heart, vessels, nerves, and muscles cooperate. Do the simple things smarter with respect for your medications and medical history, and you'll feel the difference where it counts, on your daily walks, at the gym, at your desk, and in the most intimate parts of your life.